Hey everyone, Andang here for yet more Tolkien news. Yes, after that Amazon series got announced, it just seems like that everybody's making something Tolkien related, and now we have a German developer that is making the Lord of the Rings Gollum, an action-adventure game that will be taking place before the events of the books, and exploring and going in depth into what Gollum could have been doing during that time. Basically, they're fleshing out their own story, filling in the gaps in Tolkien's work, which I think could be really interesting, especially with an action-adventure game. You could have something like the classic Hobbit game that came out in the early 2000s on the GameCube and a few other platforms. And I think it would be really interesting if they did that same type of game, but modern and with Gollum. I think it would be really fascinating. Not to mention there's the whole Aragorn tracking him down and all the riddles in the dark and all that stuff, along with just tons of time that we don't know what happened. Plus, we could probably torture a few goblins along the way in his hideout there in the mountains. So, not too much yet known about the game, other than apparently we're going to have the ability, it seems, to be deciding if we want to follow Smeagol or Gollum, where they'll both be like presenting sides of what could happen next, and then we have to choose which one we want to do, which sounds pretty cool. That was found in the PC Gamer interview, and assuming that's the case, that would be awesome. I think it'd be really cool to be able to make your own adventure and, you know, see what outcomes happen if you follow Smeagol versus Gollum, and maybe, who knows, you can go this whole other direction. But, you know, having that ring as an influence, it'll be interesting to see if you choose the Smeagol thing, if the ring will then somehow make you end up choosing the Gollum path. But like I said, there's really not too much that we know about this game yet, and there's probably still plenty of changes that'll be happening anyway if we did know stuff, because the game's still not scheduled to come out for 2 more years. But I just wanted to go over just how many Tolkien projects there are in the works right now that we know about, let alone stuff we don't even know about. First of all, there's the Amazon series. That's what kicked off this whole renaissance of Tolkien. There's the Tolkien biopic. There's the new Lord of the Rings MMO made by Athlon Games. There's, of course, LOTR still going with a Minas Morgul expansion, the 7th expansion for the Lord of the Rings Online coming this year. And there's also this Gollum game. So that's 5 projects that we know about at least. There's probably also mobile games in the work, along with probably something else from the Monolith team, since they were doing Shadow of War, and I'm guessing that they do something Tolkien related. That seems like that series has been really profitable, and so I doubt WB's just going to let it go by the wayside, especially with that Amazon series coming out. Because keep in mind, the Amazon series is totally separate from all the other Lord of the Rings projects. The other Lord of the Rings projects are by Middle-earth Enterprises and Warner Brothers, and there's now this Amazon series that's going to be coming in and doing who knows what to the Tolkien universe. And so that is going to be a huge battle, I feel like, where it seems like Middle-earth Enterprises is really gearing up to combat the Amazon series, or at least take advantage of it. And they're very smart for doing that, and it's going to be really interesting to see how things move forward. And I highly doubt WB is just going to sit by the sidelines. And so I fully expect at least some type of AAA Lord of the Rings game coming out of Warner Brothers. And so can't wait for that as well. So, I mean, it really is a renaissance of Tolkien right now. And I think it's probably the best time to be a Tolkien fan, assuming you like adaptation, since the Lord of the Rings films initially came out, and that huge explosion of Lord of the Rings content that came out of that. And so this is really probably the biggest time to be a Tolkien fan since the Lord of the Rings films. So if you guys agree, be sure to leave a like down below, and I'll see you again real soon for more Middle-earth news.